Now moving into our next segment, speaking of mind-boggling, mind-bending things, you have the host of The View talking about Queen Elizabeth's death, and then they go on this whole reparations tangent on how the empire and the colonization, everything they did was all this racist stuff and that they deserve reparations. Folks, she's not even buried yet, and they're going on with this whole thing. It's unbelievable.
Has elevated Prince Charles to King Charles III. But will he be as popular as his mother? We'll see. When his marriage to Princess Diana was falling apart, a lot of people considered Charles and his current wife Camilla the bad guys of the drama. Those two, they were made for each other. What will this mean for the future of the royals is the question. I'd just like to say one thing about her before we get started. When I was in England during the Reagan years, I was performing stand-up in a comedy club in London, and I had some material, which I don't remember, about the Queen, and it died like a dog. I mean, not one laugh. So I had to switch to jokes about Ronald Reagan. Then they started laughing. But I realized then how much they revere the Queen, and you can do jokes about Charles at that time, which I did, but not her, not her.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I studied in London, and so I lived in London for a while, and I got caught up in the pomp and circumstance of it all as well. I wanted to see the changing of the guards. I wanted to see everything. I wanted to meet the Queen because I think we all love glam and pageantry. And I think, though, we can mourn the Queen and not the empire.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about what the monarchy was built on, it was built on the backs of black and brown people. She wore a crown with pillaged stones from India and Africa. And now what you're seeing, at least in the black communities that I'm a part of, they want reparations. You know, Barbados left.
Let me remind you, the lady isn't even freaking buried yet. And you have the left here talking about reparations and all the colonialization that England did in the past and all this other stuff. It's crazy, and it gets freaking old after a while. I mean, anytime they can sit there, race bait somebody, throw in the reparations, talk about slavery, talk about how America's racist, England's racist, Australia's racist, everybody's racist, and the black community, minorities all deserve reparations, they're going to throw it in there. And like I said, the lady's not even freaking buried yet, and they're doing this.
Left the sort of this monarchy, this colonization. Yeah. Jamaica, I have a lot of Jamaican friends. That's coming soon. And right now, Charles now is in a position, I think has 14 colonies that he is now head of state, including Australia and Canada, I believe, if I'm correct. It's time for him to modernize this monarchy, and it's time for him to provide reparations to all of those colonies. And I also think, you know, a monarchy, it's very easy to uplift one family. The harder thing is to uplift all families. And I think that he's in a position to be able to do that.
But you do know.
Or you could just uplift yourself and get yourself out of poverty. How about you try that first before you start asking for handouts constantly? And it has nothing to do with race. There's poor black people, there's poor white people, Asian, they're poor in general. So talk about uplifting. How about you sacrifice, you do certain necessary mechanisms that will help you get out of poverty? I know nobody wants to talk about that. I know that's kind of like the elf in the room that nobody wants to point at, but it's the truth. You got to make certain good decisions, and not just one or two. You have to make a series of good decisions to get out of poverty. And the amazing thing is, you have to make drastically more bad decisions than you do good decisions in order to stay in poverty. So you got to really try, basically in the United States of America, to stay in poverty rather than make a series of good decisions that will allow you to get out of poverty. We'll continue here.
You do know that Queen Elizabeth fought against apartheid in South Africa.
That was one of the good things she did.
She was, and she also was very angry with Thatcher, who refused to do sanctions against South Africa. Yeah. So she tried, I think, her best, if she could, every once in a while. She really...
Holy crap. Joy Behar actually has somewhat of a brain. Wow. She's actually standing up for the Queen. I'm like, hey, she actually did some good things. And then Sonny Houston's like, holy crap, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, she did some good things. Yeah. I was actually caught off guard by Joy Behar here.
Really didn't have that much power. She was the figurehead.
Well, look, the United States was built on the backs of black and brown people.
We want our reparations.
And, you know,
And we want our reparations, as if she went through slavery. If she was the one shackled out in the cotton fields It's so remarkable. And I like to point out, if that's the road you're going to go down, just mind you, I know the progressive left Democrat Party don't like to hear about this. White people are enslaved as well. I understand that the disparity doesn't fit the narrative. I get it. But it's just amazing how whenever there's a disparity in data, it always leads to racism. But then when you have a white person talking about how white people were enslaved as well, not in the same proportion, but we can't talk about that because it's not the same proportion. But when you use those same proportions to talk about the disparities, all of a sudden, it doesn't go with the narrative. So you can't push it. Or if it does go with the narrative, then you can push it in the favor of that. It's just mind blowing to me how they want reparations and that we're all supposed to pay for it. I didn't do anything. I didn't enslave anybody. It's just, why should I have to pay for somebody else's injustices and the wrongs they did in the past with the current present day, of which there's people that weren't enslaved? And we tried to do it, right? We tried early on to do reparations. It didn't go through. So those people early on that should have received reparations didn't. Is it a stain on America? Is it a blot on us? Absolutely. It's an evil that should have been eradicated before in terms of reparations. And there was some forms of reparation throughout American history. But I just love how she goes, well, we want them. As if that's going to change anything. Remember, a lot of the financial situation that people go through is what's called behavioral economics. In short, that's a fancy way of saying it's the dumb things, the irrational decisions that people do with money. Behavioral economics. Just because you throw money at the problem doesn't fix it. You have to fix the behavior, and it's the behavior that people don't want to fix. If you're still poor from slavery, years and years later, multiple family generations, there's something deeper going on than just people giving you a handout. Something way deeper than that. It takes one generation to get out of poverty. Okay, I know, again, I keep emphasizing this. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. It really is. You have to just make good decisions, and if you do so, you should be okay. The left won't advance that knowledge. They don't want to talk about it. They'd rather continue this metaphorical plantation on holding minorities down rather than uplifting them. If you're a minority, if you're a black person, white, Asian, I don't care who you are, make good decisions. Start investing at 18. Go get a corporate job. Get a job in general. Start investing that money into the market. Go to Charles Schwab, Vanguard. Go to those institutions that will take your money, invest it for you with a diversified portfolio. All of it's basic. Get to Dave Ramsey. Buy Financial Peace. Go to Financial Peace University. Do what it is you need to do to obtain that knowledge, to invest that money, and you will be fine. You will be almost guaranteed fine depending on how our market's been going, but they don't want to advance that. They want to sit there and call you a victim. They want to sit there and hold you down waiting for a handout. Don't ask for a handout. Don't wait for it. Go make good decisions and be successful in this country. That's what conservatives and Republicans want for you, regardless of your skin color. We want you to be successful, make good decisions, make a ton of money, be a millionaire, be a billionaire for all I care. It's the Democrat Party, it's the progressive left that don't want you to be a millionaire. They don't want you to be a billionaire because they consider the 1% evil. Bernie Sanders, the 1%, the Waltons, the Walmarts, all bad. Make your own Walmart. Go out there and be successful. That's what we want. I will continue.
The Catholic Church was built on the backs of people who black and brown people who were forced to convert to Catholicism. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of that we're coming to terms with, and I think one of the things that Charles can do to get some popularity is maybe take some time away from speaking to his plants and speak to this issue. Yeah. Recognize this issue.
From speaking to who with the first?
Speaking to his plants. He likes to speak
and maybe
to the plants.
bring his family back
plants.
together after the allegations of racism that have been made by Duchess Meghan Markle and her husband, his son, Prince Harry. Maybe they can address that.
All right, I'm going to end it there because they go on about this whole debacle of a racist family, the empire, the colonization. You got freaking this lady here, I forgot her name, just talking about him talking to his plants. Even Joy Behar's freaking confused by all this. Look, if Joy Behar's confused, it's just, I know it doesn't take much, but for the love of God, just, you got to talk about the merit that these people have here. You literally have African-American, Hispanic, white. You have a diversity group of hosts here hosting a primetime show on network television, and they're complaining how racist and everything was in the past and how those injustices of the past should be paid for by today. All the while, they're sitting on a freaking popular show. I might not agree with the show, I might not like it, but it's amazing to me how they're still going to push this racist whole thing, that England's racist, America's racist, slavery in the past, and all this other stuff, and they want their reparations as they're freaking sitting there as hosts of a major TV show. We had a black president, a black attorney general, black senators, black congressmen and women. I mean, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. It's evil. We all agree with that. But they're making it seem like it's a mainstream issue and they can't just leave the past in the past. It's so mind-boggling. The lady's not even freaking buried yet, but they're going to continue to push this charade, the reparation thing and everything else. If you want reparations, put on the tax form. Put on the tax. You know how all of us sit there, we can elect like $3 to the presidential campaign or whatever it is. Put that on there. Allow people to elect to give $3, $10, put whatever number you want on that tax form. Allow people to elect to do it, and then we can be done away with it. But again, I'm telling you, even if you gave people reparations, you're still going to have something come up of like, oh, well, you know, reparations wasn't good enough because of the housing thing of redlining. We need to give people free homes, you know, get rid of their mortgages, whatever it may be. There's going to be something. It's always going to be something. It's never going to be good enough. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.